Welcome to The Medical Conspiracy with Dr. Carpenter.
Good afternoon and welcome back. We are here again with you after a very interesting week, I guess. A few interesting events, but before I get to discuss something that happened last Saturday during transmission, as you know, we do a semi-live, so I really wasn't talking. I was just trying to listen to see if anything funny would happen during the show, and something interesting went on. But before we do that, let's have station identification so we don't forget.
Right. You're listening to OrionTalkRadio.com and Micro1650.com in Tonawanda, New York. We want to say hi to everybody listening on Spreaker.com, TalkSuperstation.com, Shoutcast.com, the TuneIn app, and as always, today with us is Barbara Hartwell. Her website is Barbara Hartwell versus CIA.blogspot.com. Check it out. And back to you in the newsroom.
News. Okay, the first news, at least is something that I find interesting, to say the least. It happened last Saturday. And I want to point out that usually one of the reasons we pre-recorded is, of course, otherwise we couldn't have Randy. So, but one of the reasons
what do you need me for? I just kind of sit here, yeah.
Well, sometimes you say, well, it makes company.
Don't downgrade yourself, Randy.
Right. First of all,
we need you here.
Well, first of all, he says some funny things sometimes, so it all depends on the inspiration.
You never know. It may be like the singing frog too.
You can't tell sometimes, but also makes company. It's all group, so it makes everybody feel better, I think.
Yeah.
Defy loneliness. So it's just good. But so we pre-recorded, and usually Saturday is a very busy day for me. I don't have the time to be here. Only occasionally, and last Saturday was one of those occasions because
Saturday's always crazy for me.
Yeah, it's just a weird day, and I have a lot of things going on, and sometimes just unexpected events. And last Saturday was one of those, and things work out differently. So I was able to come up here and connect to the internet and try to listen to the show. Well, everything was okay. I didn't quite come at the beginning because it's very hard for me to get here at the right time. But it was close enough to the beginning. And I started listening and everything was fine. Until, as you recall, we talked about, for anybody that listened last Saturday, we talked about Liberty News Radio and how I started all of this 4 years ago. And our last year, all of a sudden things went really bad for Liberty News Radio, and they totally lost their business. So even I was in
First it went down to only broadcasting half a day, I think.
Yeah.
And then having programmed repeat during the other part of the day because it had to do with the amount of money they were having to pay for the tower that they use because they do shortwave. They have their own shortwave transmitter.
But that's the reason that clients canceled and left.
And, I think Sam still has LibertyRoundtable.com, his own radio show.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't listened, but I know that the salesperson told me they lost businesses, and even if I continue paying, which after the events in July, as you know, that was not something feasible. Even if I were able to continue paying, they said they couldn't still keep it up because they had too many expense. Yeah, I'm just choke on the water.
Don't drink the water.
Yeah, don't drink the water. No, this is good one. Anyway, so they went out of business, and I thought it was really strange. Okay? And so we were talking about that, and now we're suspicious of that occurrence. And boom, in the middle of a sentence, the sound vanished. And then I noticed that the computer had frozen. I don't know if it frozen immediately after or during or before. I have no idea. But the computer was frozen. So I said, could you move the mouse? And I had to reboot the system. And then this thing is really slow, and the internet system is slow here. I mean, I'm out in the middle of nowhere on Mars. So it took me a while, but I finally went back in, and everything seemed okay, and the sound was fine. Everything went on normally until we got to the second major issue of last week. One was what happened to Liberty News Radio. The other one was about this drug that was approved by FDA, and I discussed it was just nothing new. Just a copy of another drugs. They just add a good flavor into it, and it's a sublingual drug. So, and then make it easy to dissolve, but no changing the active ingredient. I was talking about how the original drug, without this minor improvement, the original drug had been FDA approved, but as I was getting ready to say, it has 780 contraindication of drugs. 780 drugs that are a contraindication. They're conflicting with this one. Right then, before I got to say that, boom, my computer freezes again. Well, I don't know. The sound went off, and then I noticed that it was frozen. Which one happened first, I have no idea. But,
well, Dr. Carpenter, what you're talking about here is timing. The timing of the computer freezes was significant for you, meaning that the first issue was Liberty News Radio, which we talked about last week, and we spoke about how we suspected that this stalker freak, Michelle Wolven, who was sick on...
She doesn't have the capability of doing that, but she's a patsy.
No, what we talked about is that she was sick on Liberty News. She started harassing Liberty News Radio, just as she harassed Orion Talk Radio. That's what we were speaking about, right?
Yeah, she was saying that I was a criminal and they should drop my show and all of that. Yeah.
Yes.
And you should come by the house for a free scientific demonstration.
The glyconutrients?
Right.
Yeah.
You can start your own business with Manatech.
The point that I'm trying to make here is that when they get these freaks, these stalkers that are sicked on you by the powers that be, namely FDA and all the others, okay? That's who they work for. They're minions, okay? And so when they sick these people on you, these people apply pressure. They're extremely aggressive.
Are you a go-getter? I made $1 million last month with Manatech.
Harassing people, right.
Selling glyconutrients.
Right. So the point is, you just never know how much money is in the background backing up a freak like this. She herself,
I don't know. I don't know if she got that much money out of it.
No, I don't getting her getting money. What I mean is how much money is in back of her and they use her to threaten people, and we don't know what went on. That's my point. We don't know what was going on in the background. All right.
It was the demons. It was the demons inside her.
Yeah, you were a featured talk show host on that station, and we discussed the possibility that your very presence there and the controversy that was up could have contributed to them going offline. We don't know. But
they lost the clients, basically, and they couldn't continue. Yeah. Now, Orion is not controlled by FCC anyway, so they can do what they want. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
And they obviously couldn't get to Orion.
She threatened Orion, oh, I'm going to report you to the FCC, as if they have any jurisdiction. They don't have it.
I need that Bob Criscuolo laugh, you know. I need that right here.
It's like saying an American, I'm going to report you to the KGB. Okay?
See something, say something.
Say something.
Yeah.
Say something. That's the kind of operation that they run for people exactly like Michelle Wolvin. Snitches.
Your neighbor may be an enemy of the state.
And they see something and say something. Does that apply to only certain people or certain something or everything? Because we did it. We saw our neighbor that was harassing us, and we saw what was going on her driveway, and we said it. Oh, you cannot say that. So, what do you mean you see something and say something? We said that was...
it was just a casual comment in one of those, you know, slugfest forums, you know.
After they've been harassing us for nothing.
400 pages of insults or something like that.
Yeah, and then we say facts about all these strange cars, never the same, you know, that are parked there over the weekend, and then they change by the week. So,
Dr. Carpenter called first blood. They drew first blood.
But what we said
what we're doing is telling the truth in your own defense, period.
Right. How can you consider any value of a person that is such a disreputable individual? And oh no, you cannot say that. Okay. All right.
He was being a good neighbor. He was being a good neighbor by not telling everybody on the block what he knew. Unquote. What he knew.
Yeah. They told me. Anyway, and he came up to start a fight. But anyway, that's just...
With a witness.
Yeah, with a witness. And print out from the web. Like you don't have freedom of speech. Anyway, she didn't like, she could have tried to sue us. Anyway, but the plan was doing something else. Anyway, so what happened Saturday is definitely suspicious. 2 major points. Liberty News Radio and the drugs, FDA-approved drugs, that is a nightmare. How can a doctor, even an honest one, how can he check out 780 drugs to find out? That's ridiculous. Anyway, so definitely the timing of the interruption, which appeared to have been interruption only to my computer, were suspicious. Now, the question is, Barbara, you said they have the technology to do that, right?
Well, they do, Dr. Carpenter. And I was telling you a little bit before we got online to record the show about my many years of experience with this kind of electronic interference. They do it on the phones, they do it on the computer, and the level of technology that they possess is really, most people would be shocked to know how deep it goes. In fact, if you consider the recent revelations, which were not revelations to me, this is common knowledge, but Edward Snowden, who reported on the NSA spying on everybody and all that, they have it, okay? And when they target somebody, the average person doesn't need to be, I don't think they really need to be very concerned. They should be concerned about the issue itself, because it's the right to privacy. But the average person doesn't need to be personally concerned that they are going to be singled out and targeted.
Unless they do something.
Yeah, exactly. You, however, have been a target for quite a number of years of these people, beginning with the defense industry whistleblowing that happened quite many years ago. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that was during the Reagan administration, the beginning of the second.
That's right. So you are a targeted individual. Okay, there's no doubt, and so yeah, they'll do anything they can. They use every trick on the spectrum to make your life miserable, even if it's a stupid, idiotic thing like interfering in an obvious way, so that we are.
Do you think they still do that thing I read about here and there, where they're beaming frequencies into people's brains and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, do you think that's based on reality? All the stories we hear about that.
Oh, there's no doubt. Some of the people reporting the stories may not be credible, but the capability and the technology, it is absolutely.
My thought about that is that's the first thing they would have tried to do to me. So why didn't they?
Yeah, they call it voice to skull technology, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it varies from person to person. A person that they would use that voice to skull technology would more likely be a, quote, mind controlled target, somebody who they are trying to interfere with for a different reason. In your case, it's a completely different situation. Your situation is you're somebody who's been targeted because you have been deemed somebody who needs to be silenced and shut down.
And my impression of everything that has happened is the way they handled everything to terrorize me, cause fear. Okay.
Exactly.
But how they think that this is going to terrorize me? All it says is they're stupid. What is that going to do to me?
It certainly does, Dr. Carpenter.
Just to mess with you, just to mess with your head.
It's not messing with me, and it's not messing with my head. My head is way above that level, and theirs too. But I mean, it's not messing with it. So they,
these people. I'll tell you, I've said it how many times in my reports. The behavior of these people is sophomoric. They're like juvenile delinquent.
Sophomore is already in college, so they were way below that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what I'm saying, that's the mentality, okay? It's idiotic and stupid. And
kindergarten, in my opinion.
It's world-class stupidity.
It is. I mean, come on, get real. What do you think you're going to do by doing that? Minor inconvenience. I already know what was said. So if other people can hear it, that's the important thing. I said it, so I know what I said. And I was just listening to find out if there was a problem in the transmission, like happens. And they decided to do that. And I thought, oh, boy, there was a problem at the station. But I can easily find out if other people had the same problem. If it was just me, then it's just a waste of precious time, aside from the fact that most Saturdays I don't even listen to it because I can't.
Nothing better to do, Dr.
Really? Absolutely. And if they think
the level of the mentality. My friend that's the former FBI agent, Gerald Sosby, who you also know, he calls them mental dwarves. That is a mental dwarf. And these are the people that work, think about it, the intelligence agencies.
Well, that's the biggest oxymoron that you have ever heard of. Intelligence?
And a misnomer. Because they're some of the stupidest people that I have ever encountered in my entire life.
Yeah. How you spell milliwatt?
Evil.
Right. How you spell milliwatt?
No. Okay.
Same level of mentality. How do you spell milliwatt? If somebody is part of the investigating group and they send this stupid greenhorn and a whole bunch of greenhorn to investigate a scientist that has had years and years in science, a lifetime in science, and is not 20 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, and you think you can deal with this person on the same level? Get real, guy.
No, it's idiotic, Dr. Carpenter. And I'm telling you, the level of competence and the level of professionalism in intelligence services has plummeted. Okay, when I was in there, it was nothing like what you see today. They have a stupid bunch of kids. They're little greenhorns, like you say. They're like amateurs. They're not trained how to do anything right. They flub things up. They mess things up. And,
they would do what they're doing unless they were stupid. They wouldn't agree to do what they're doing unless they were stupid. Okay? It's just the first sign of ignorance and stupidity, do the things they're doing.
Right.
Oh, and they think I'm so hot because I'm doing this.
Oh, yeah.
It's my job.
I'm a G-man. Look at me, everybody. I'm a G-man.
Remember my name.
Yeah. You remember my name.
You're going to rue the day you ever met me.
Yeah. Yeah. And You could stop the show if you wanted to, right? That's what he with that voice that I cannot do, the one you do.
Yeah, you can stop the show.
You could stop it if you wanted to, ma'am, couldn't you?
Oh, and what do you mean by, what did he say?
Oligarchy. What the hell is an oligarchy?
What do you mean by that? I mean, you should know. You're a lawyer.
They're in the criminal investigation division. They know things.
Well, this was the civil suit. This was the lawyer, for the civil suit.
Right.
Yeah, with that stupid voice.
What's his name?
Bond.
Oh, Will Bond. He's in my Hall of Shame, everybody.
Yeah.
Barbara Hartwell versus CIA.blogspot.com. Check it out. The Hall of Shame. We got Michelle Wolven, Bob Criscuolo, Will Bond, the whole Jeremy Bain, the whole crew.
Lori Fulbright.
That's right. Therese Westphal.
Oh,
they're all in there. Michelle Wolven. Did I repeat her name? Michelle Wolven.
KOTV News on 6.com.
Yeah. I'm telling you. If you think about it, yes, they made a mess of my life. And they certainly create a lot of problems for me. But if you think about it, they're just a bunch of morons. It's ridiculous.
They really are.
Yeah, they are. Lori Fulbright putting on a white coat.
Oh, yeah. As if
False
she
hope.
was the anchor person, right?
Well, yes.
Hey, we
she
got
was
about 20 seconds, y'all.
Oh, I'm sorry. The anchor person thought she was a qualified medical individual. Just like a lawyer, Brzezinski, Jaffe.
Brzezinski.
Yeah, Brzezinski. And his lawyer, Jaffe. Okay.
Hey, and we're, yeah. I can hear
we're
it.
done. Okay, we'll be back after the break.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy with Dr. Carpenter.
Real alternative radio. We are OrionTalkRadio.com.
At Orion Talk Radio, we're constantly working hard on your behalf. But the fight for freedom could not be fought without you. So we want to hear what you have to say at 888-272-4434.
Wow, I have never heard talk radio like this before.
Y'all got a really good thing going, and we really appreciate it here. We're from Alabama, and thank y'all so very, very much. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Good job and all. My name's Wayne from Alberta, Canada. Good work, guys.
I agree with your defense of the First Amendment. Religions need to suppress the right to assemble.
Hey, I think Orion Radio is spectacular and awesome.
Hey, I just wanted to call and tell you I'm a great supporter of your radio broadcast. Anyway, good to hear some refreshing information, very intelligent speech. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
At Orion Talk Radio, we're waiting for your call. 888-272-4434.
Don't miss The Medical Conspiracy, hosted by me, Dr. Carpenter, every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Orion Talk Radio. Okay, we're back from the first break, and we talked enough about funny stuff, funny events. But one of the things I was planning to talk about is one of the tools, supposedly, that FDA has to protect the public is what is called the watch list. Okay? When they have some issue with certain drugs, they introduce the watch list. Okay? Okay, and I will discuss the latest two drugs, class of drugs that has been put on the watch list. But I want to say something before I get to discuss these drugs. And it's the watch list is something, a tool they use. It means that FDA will investigate whether there is a connection with the drug and some adverse event that people are claiming. But what FDA says is adding a drug to the watch list does not imply that physicians should stop prescribing that drug and patients should stop taking it. Okay, so there is an issue with a drug, or there is an issue with a family of drugs, and FDA is alerted, look, we are having this problem. We need to, you need to do something. So what they do, they put it on the watch list.
The watch list. It sounds like the title of a movie, The Watch List.
We could do one.
Watch list.
You should. You don't have the time. We should make a video, the watch list, and mark what's going on. But anyway, we might get back into that one. Okay, the latest drugs put in the watch list were, one is a family of drugs that are really a class of drugs that are supposed to stop you from vomiting, okay? Anti-emeric drugs, okay? And then I'll give the detail. And two examples are Zofran from GlaxoSmithKline and Zuplant, the Par Pharmaceutical. I don't know that company, but obviously must be pretty big. And they are used for controlling nausea, and they increase the risk of serotonin syndrome. I'll get to what this is in a minute, and I want to tell you what's the other drug. The other drug that is on the watch list, it's a beta blocker, and it's called, the generic name is metoprolol succinate. And the brand name is Toprol XL from, guess who? AstraZeneca. And the reports are therapeutic ineffectiveness. That means it does nothing. Okay? All right. That's why they're on the watch list. So, using ordinary language, Zofran is a drug effective against vomiting and nausea. Okay. Vomiting and nausea are usually introduced by chemo drugs, but they're introduced by other drugs. So they have something to counter the side effects. Okay? But the side effect of this drug, Zofran, is serotonin syndrome. What is serotonin syndrome? It's actually, they don't give you detail of what exactly. It's a series of symptoms they can be mild to severe, and mild symptoms are increased heart rate, shivering, sweating, dilated pupil, intermittent tremor and twitching, and over responsive reflexes. Okay? That means if you use the hammer to check the reflexes of a person, possibly you're going to get kicked in the face, which the doctor for prescribing that drug should be. Okay.
Well, Dr. I have a question, okay?
Yeah.
Is serotonin emitted by the pituitary or the pineal gland? Do you know which one of those?
I'm not really sure because
I know it's one of those, okay?
It's natural. And,
natural.
And if you have sleeping disorder, taking natural serotonin helps. But you do not want to cause problems with the production of serotonin or the functioning of the serotonin. So
that's what this drug is actually doing.
Can produce, yes.
Yes. the chemistry of the body.
It can stop you from vomiting, but it's going to mess up your entire system, and you can get
another probably worse effect.
Okay, the mild effects are the one I just described. Now, the moderate effect, which what is called an intoxication, include additional abnormalities such as high blood pressure, even high blood pressure, but also induces hyperthermia. And this is not hyperthermia in the tumor to kill the tumor. This is general hyperthermia. Your body temperature goes up really high beyond the fever to 100 from 104 to 106.
Wow, that's that much?
That's deadly. Yes, you die.
Horrible.
If it goes to 106, you're dead. Okay. 40 degrees causes brain damage, but you're not dead yet. Okay. So it causes hyperthermia to stop you from vomiting. So you're going to die, but you're not going to vomit anymore, which you're not going to if you're dead anyway. But
this is...
I know, I can make it funny, but it's really serious.
So idiotic, Dr. Carpenter. I can't get over it. Every week I listen to these stories about the side effects of something that is used to treat one symptom and that ends up causing a range of other much worse symptoms.
I mean, and vomiting and nausea, smoke pot for heaven's sake. And you're not going to get hyperthermia side effect. And you're not going to die. I mean, come on. But no. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pot is illegal. You get arrested. Even if you want to try to get it legalized, okay? Which is not the right phrase. They should decriminalize. There's nothing criminal about it, okay?
No, there's not.
But
only the people that are running it.
But what do they do with the drug? Legal. Well, it's legal. What do you do with a drug that can kill you with hyperthermia? Because once you get hyperthermia, it's pretty difficult to stop it. Well, it can put you on ice, but I don't know. It's pretty difficult to stop it.
Well, Dr. Carpenter, is this drug on the watch list?
Yes. What they do, they put it on the watch list.
The watch list.
Yeah, but we're watching. How many people are going to die?
Prescribing. Okay, but it's on the watch list, so don't worry. No worries. It's on the watch list.
Okay, and then what? People are still and the watch list doesn't mean that the doctor should stop prescribing it and people should stop taking it. Okay, so it's okay for you to die from this, but you cannot smoke pot?
So how long does it take for a drug to be on the watch list?
Oh, it taken
the market.
Well, it depends how long it takes FDA to find out what happens.
Or how many people have to die.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Well, with Avastin was 150,000. And only because Europe removed it from the market.
Well, yes.
Otherwise, they would not have done it.
It's like how many people have to be hit at a crosswalk before they put a damn stop sign there at the intersection.
And see,
what
that's
the hell?
And that's it. Putting it on the watch list makes it questionable.
There was an incident not too long ago. I think I've spoken about it before on this program. It had to do with my church. And there was a real problem with this crosswalk, okay? And there were activists. There were people actually they were calling the town hall. They were doing everything and writing editorials. Please do something about this, okay? They did nothing. And finally, one of the people, this nice little old lady from my church, she was one of the activists. And she was, very loud about it. Guess what happened? She herself was hit and killed
in a car accident.
When a car hit her at the crosswalk. Oh, then there was a big hullabaloo, okay? Before that, they did nothing. It's just like the watch list.
Yes, but was that a real accident or was a created accident?
No, I think it was real. I think it was.
Wasn't it just an accident? No,
No,
somebody.
a person was killed. No, I believe it was just another instance of stupidity where they just didn't do anything. It's apathy and stupidity. They just didn't do anything. Okay? And my point is it reminds me it's the same thing. They put it on a watch list. So we'll have to be looking out for that. Well, it's too late now. Somebody was killed. In this case, many people die. And it's still on a stupid watch list.
Oh, and then the next drug on the watch list, as I said, is called Toprol XL by AstraZeneca. And it's a prescription medication for high blood pressure. Okay, high blood pressure. And patient without, and the description of the drug is saying that this is for high blood pressure, but patient with high blood pressure have the most common side effects they have is tiredness, dizziness, depression, diarrhea, itching or rash, shortness of breath, and slow heart rate. You know, slow heart rate is really dangerous, okay? And they say, if you experience any of these side effects, contact your doctor. Okay, this is a drug for high blood pressure, but people that have high blood pressure can experience all of these side effects. And what do? You talk to your doctor about it, because then he contact FDA and say, see, you're watching this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And in fact,
it's limitless idiocy.
Well, because the side effect that it has for people with high blood pressure, doesn't it mean that high blood pressure is a contraindication?
Yeah.
A condition for this drug, but then they're giving it to the very people they shouldn't give it to. But you're okay because FDA is watching.
FDA is watching, and you can contact your doctor. You can ask your doctor if it's right for you.
And the doctor will tell you, oh, no problem. You can go ahead and continue. And then the person died. Oops, well, it was an accident. Well, it's pretty hard to say that hyperthermia happened naturally. With the heart problem, then they can say, well, this person had a problem from the beginning. But hyperthermia, I don't see how they can say that the person had hyperthermia to start with before they took the medications. They can't. That's why they had to admit.
It's unbelievable. I can't fathom this.
Those are things that are on a watch list. And my point here is this. Okay, they hear complaint about this particular drug that is manufactured by major companies, and the major company has to get back their money because they, after all, they paid $1 million to FDA to have it approved, and who knows how much more on the table. And also, quote, they spend a lot of money to develop these drugs, so they have to make their money, so they put it on the watch list. And we'll wait and see. But then they get one complaint from one idiot, deranged old man that is an idiot that didn't listen to the nonsense that the doctor was saying, contradicting themselves 10,000 times, but out of vengeance, because he's now have an electronic voice that has nothing to do with laser ink, because laser ink doesn't do surgery. Okay, didn't do surgery. So he writes to FDA. Wouldn't you say, it's only one person. How many person wrote to FDA about Toprol or the other one? What was the name? Just give me a second. Or Zofran. How many people talked about it? Definitely more than one. Okay? That was put on the watch list. But what LMI was doing caused it to be raided. We want complaint only.
And let's mention that the complaint was completely bogus, because what happened to this individual happened not because of anything that you did. It happened because he went back and got standard treatment, and he didn't listen to the instructions, and then he turned around and made a scapegoat out of you.
Well, what happened is this. He first had diagnosed this condition, and he did not like what they were offering him. So he came to me, and by the way, one lump disappeared within 2 months. It was in a lymph node, and it disappeared within 2 months. The other one that was on the throat, it was a lot longer too. And it was only healing and expanding of that tissue, and it looked like a normal tissue when he did the contrast CT scan. So that was a nonsense. But they managed to scare him really well, and he decided to go for standard treatment, which was what they were doing, they were going to do in the first place. But no, he bought the story that contradicted what they did before by saying, oh, you got so bad and you had to have this surgery because you waited. You wasted precious time by going to Les Medin, which is ridiculous because that's what they were going to do in the first place. So he was stupid on top of a dishonesty. Mongol. Really, he was a mafia guy. Really dishonest to the bone. And one person, and they immediately put out a 2-year effort with all that money involved to raid.
Yeah. 2-year effort to run a sting operation. And
full of lies, because you see,
lies.
Because they had to resort to lies. There was nothing wrong in what I was doing. So in order to do and be able to do what they did, they had to lie in the affidavit to the judge. It was an absolute lie. So, but that's okay, because one person complained, and this, we don't like that. But a drug, well, this is a big drug company, so we are watching it. I mean, I'm telling you, this is absolutely stomach turning.
It's complete deception and dishonesty, because the FDA is bribed. That's the only word you can use. They are bribed by the drug companies to approve a drug, and then they put it on the watch list.
Well,
okay, that's what they're going to do. Put it on the watch.
And by having the watch list, that gives them the opening of now setting a date on when they bring some action.
Yeah, it buys time. It gives them cover, so they think.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, and they allow the drug company to keep selling that drug until something happens in Europe or something, some pressure. See? But our case, no, immediately. That's one excuse we can use and put an end to this, because that conflicts with the interest of the drug company. That's what it is.
Well, that's right, Dr. Carpenter. And we should add in once again that not only this operation that was being run against you, okay, but think of all, you don't have to think of it, you experience, but remember all the living hell they made your life with the harassment and the vandalism and the liars out on the internet.
4 years. 4 years. And the liar on the internet to destroy my business, because my business was based on people finding the company on the web and deciding to come and get a treatment.
Well, see, that's part of the neutralization campaign. One of the major efforts is to discredit whatever it is you have, whatever it is you do, whoever it is that you are. Discredit, neutralize them. Straight from J. Edgar Hoover himself.
Basically, what they're saying is that saving people's lives is a crime, because it goes against what the AMA is doing. That's what they're saying. Unreal. Okay. I just wanted to point out the difference between watch list and rating, and who gets rated and who is on the watch list.
Right.
Just that is enough to tell people, hey, we don't want this. Shut down FDA. Shut down the Office of Criminal Investigation for FDA. Shut down the entire operation, because it's not helping anything. It's not helping anybody. It's only hurting.
It's destroying people's lives, Dr.
And like with the compounding pharmacies, the same thing. And then they complain, the prices of medication are so out of control. Medicare is going broke. Well, just leave on the compounding pharmacy and the small alternative practitioner. Leave them alone. and all of that will come to an end. Anyway, I have more to talk about it. The problem that emergency department have in hospitals and all of that. But before I get to that, it was another article that I found interesting. And this article
and we have
says,
about 1 minute, by the way, just let you know.
I'll just introducing the subject and then we'll continue after. Okay. Although we have, stay tuned because we have some special award to give out. Okay? Well, this article discusses which women would benefit from taking drugs to prevent breast cancer. And you know what the prevention of breast cancer drugs are. One is the infamous tamoxifen, and the other is raloxifene. It's not raloxifene because there's an E at the end, so I presume it's raloxifene. Anyway, so we'll discuss that, what they say about and what it's a good idea to do, and what's the advantage of the preventive drugs, chemoprevention.
And here we go.
Okay.
Don't touch that mouse. The medical conspiracy will return in just a moment.